She says Dave wants to join the meeting.
Yeah, so he won't be able to get on the big screen.
Looks like something working there.
She says Dave.
Yeah, so he won't be able to get on the big screen.
She says Dave.
Yeah, so he won't be able to get on the big screen.
That needs to be. Big word, guys. There we go. Okay, that's gonna be painful for people listening in.
You ready to start?
I think so. I hope so.
Yeah, call the meeting over. Pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Okay, thank you for being here tonight. Okay, the first thing on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the June 12th regular meeting, or June 10th regular meeting. Discussion about those minutes. Is there a motion to approve those?
I'll make a motion that we approve June 10th meeting of park board as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now, next thing on the agenda is a discussion and vote for the Indiana pump fund for
Okay, so.
everybody's seen what we're talking about here.
Okay, so the Indiana pump, it looks like this project. Also, I'm gonna send this down for you guys to sign.
That's the one I didn't get.
Huh?
That's the one I didn't get.
I've already read it.
Oh, sorry. I have more as well. So I was approached by Zach from Indiana Pump. Really. Over the winter, we've talked a few times and he came out and we looked and he actually said our facility looks pretty good. Our lift station looks good. He was pretty happy with the health of it. So what he's proposing is sort of just something that is a yearly service, a maintenance service that no one else that I know of provides. And he's proposing to come out, inspect the pumps, inspect the lift station, the pools, perform the electrical analysis on the control panel and pumps just every year, just to make sure things are going good. And the other thing that we get if we go with something like this is if something does go wrong, like what happened last summer, he is on speed dial and they come right away. They assume that sort of role. And then the other thing that the only bit of work that he thought that we should probably do now is some recalibration to the floats. And that was $280. So I guess I thought I should bring it to you guys to see what you think of this and we can discuss it, we can vote on it, we can.
Did he have anything to do with the previous installation?
No,
I
he
mean, how did this come about, I guess?
So, I think that they just started reaching out to places they thought might need their services.
Okay.
And when I first started talking to him, I actually gave him the number for one of the guys who runs the water down at the park. And then they ended up going with him. And so from his recommendation, then I started, well, maybe I will give this guy a little time to come out. I wasn't going to. And then when he came out and he checked everything, we talked and he gave me a lot of pointers for what I could be doing now. And I thought this actually might not be a bad idea for us.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it sounds like a good idea to where we're not in a bind.
And he did know
And
someone.
then at the last minute, to where we'll have.
Right, he said
Heads up.
he did have dealings with someone who dealt with it out here last year, but he wasn't directly involved.
And we got 2 pumps on the shop.
That's what
too,
he's,
right?
he was very surprised to find that out, but that's good for us, I guess.
Right, it is, yeah, wow,
Yeah,
it's expensive, but it is.
yeah, but they're there now, so that's good. So that's all with,
I mean, I think it's a good idea, I just don't know if we have to get another quote, or anybody else does this,
I
you know.
don't even
that's
know
my
how to
only-
find if anyone does this.
Yeah. And maybe should he submit like a contract that he wants us to enter into if he wants to do it, or is it?
I submit, I didn't add this with it, but I'll send this down. This is the second part of maybe what you're looking for.
Just for public information, what's the contract amount?
2,000.
2,000 for a year?
Yeah, right.
And then it renews every
Every
year.
Every year, right. Oh, so here it is, though.
You guys mentioned pumps. Any warranty on the pumps, any longevity on what we have now?
The one, I think, if I remember right, the ones that we purchased did have warranties on them. And I can't remember all the crazy details of how we ended up with the two, but I know we bought 2 new ones and then we sent the other ones out to get repaired, and I think those were repaired under warranty, and that's why we ended up with the 2 extra pumps. So, but we couldn't do without them for the.
Do we know?
Huh?
Do we know the time period of warranty?
I thought it was a year, I don't.
It's normal.
That's,
Yeah. So the warranty's probably up.
Hey, when I did a comparison, possibly Tom Jordan, I think it's Cersei, he's got a lot of pump people,
okay,
he got a lot of pumps.
I just talked to Tom the other day too, I
Did
should
you?
have brought it up.
Yeah. I don't know, Amy, I think maybe you should get another quote.
Okay.
And see where we are, and then we can vote on it next meeting.
I guess I guess need to be kind of clear that we've kind of already announced what the amount of this one is, so. It puts whoever comes in later at kind of a disadvantage, I think, a little bit, but.
I put them at an advantage.
Advantage if they go under, yeah.
Well, I'll just kind of.
Maybe check with Tom.
Tom and see what he.
Yeah.
Thinks or. if he
Well,
has any-
and you run that past him for his opinion. He
Yeah.
deals with that kind of stuff all the time, so
Mhm.
that might be a good resource.
There's also a Coons Lake service in Bismarck too for additional info.
Does Cheryl? No.
Rhonda would probably know who to talk to.
Cause I know the control panel's new too up there, so.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, he was like, well, it's pretty nice, really.
Yeah, it took a lot to get for that, but.
Yeah, just find out and get back to us. Okay. Discussion vote for gutters on the Bass Lake campground, that's my understanding, that's the bath,
got
Yes.
that
So in
And
the bunch of papers that I handed you guys, though,
Inside.
siding for a garage.
yes, so the same company that's doing the gutters on the beach house. Rick Green got a quote for this too. And that was the estimate for gutters on the camp bathroom, if we wanna go that direction. And then the other quote, this is from Button Construction, who's already doing the roofs. And so they put in a quote to replace the rotten framing and sheeting on the back garage and install purlins, metal, and trim on walls of the building. And so that's that one.
Well, I think since we put the new roof on the garage in the back, we gotta finish it, but.
Just again, for public information, what were the contracts each for the gutters and for the siding?
The gutters is 1,900 and the siding. is a total of 7,800 with material and labor. The materials 3,000, labor 4,800.
Gutters, downspouts, everything that's complete.
It says 6 inch gutters with leaf guard.
Okay, I'm asking because the downspouts were in pretty poor condition, and they just removed the gutters right now, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
The downspouts were, the last time I checked, were still in place, but
Yeah, does that include everything?
I guess we should confirm with them that it includes the downspouts.
I believe ours are expensive anyway.
That didn't seem like a bad price,
Right.
so.
Yeah, I mean, if we wait till
Yeah,
next,
you know, I think, at least I'm in favor of, making a motion to go ahead with it today. Based on confirming that it includes the downspouts.
Approve as contingency.
Yeah,
I'll go with that.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve. The estimate with is it HB? In the amount of $1,900. As long as that's contingent on that the quote includes the downspouts.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
okay. So the Bass Lake renovation update.
Do
Okay.
you wanna talk
what
about?
about the siding on it?
Yeah, we have to do a siding on the garage. I'm getting ahead of myself.
That's work, well,
Jeez.
work, but
Well, the only thing I would say is they've done a great job on the roofs out there, I think, so. I don't have any problem with that contractor for sure, it doesn't seem like it's totally out of hand.
Yeah, I don't know. The garage is in pretty bad shape.
Real
Yeah.
bad.
But at least, but we put the new roof on, so we might as well. I mean, finish the job, I guess,
yeah, it's been the exciting for,
forever.
yeah,
It does have
Since I've been on
a
the board.
bunch of big holes, little holes.
it's been band-aided several times that I know of.
That tin will last decades too.
You, huh?
It'll last decades too.
Yeah. Okay, is there a motion to accept this contract? No,
I'll make the motion, but I can't read it from here.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you didn't have it.
Make a motion that we accept the quote for the siding for the garage for a total of $7,800.
I would second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The only thing I would add after that is we have to, I think now, after these couple of things, be really careful for spending the money moving forward, because we
Yeah.
used a lot of the carryover from last year to do all the roofs. And now we spent a little bit more of it, so we're gonna have to be mindful of what amount we think we're gonna have estimated to carry over for next year, so. Cause that's money we need to use for salaries and utilities and all that until we get money in the spring again with everything coming back in, so.
You know, we're carryover.
Yeah, we wanna make sure we have enough carryover to cover those
Yeah.
spring expenses
Okay,
with some cushion, I think.
so Amy, are you gonna give us an update on the camp?
Okay, yes. All right, well, I did have a few, I wanted to get a few questions answered, and so let me give you the ones that I have and then see if you have more. Okay, so for one thing, the mulch for the playground. We're gonna move that. I'm gonna have one of the boys start this week, and then hopefully it'll be done by the weekend. And Brown and Brown's giving us a tarp to kind of keep the rest of it wherever we want. So we're gonna work on that, and it should be done by the weekend. And I know all of us are a little tired of looking at it like that. And it wasn't clear who was supposed to do it, so now I know, and we'll get that done this weekend. There's some parking blocks that need to get moved back, and those will be moved back by Hill Excavating when they come back with their machines. They're gonna do some rock and concrete work as well when they're back, so. There was some mess around the garbage can dumpsters, but those already got cleaned up. I'll be glad for the garbage dumpster to get gone. It looks ugly and it's full, so they might as well take it. Um, hill excavating will be filling in, there's some holes around the beach house. I worry people will trip, but they should be getting those filled in soon. Windows for the gatehouses, so. The beachside gatehouse is getting windows, but no door, so we're gonna and we have to paint that, I just found out. And then the campsite is getting a new door, but no windows. So I think that's gonna be something we need to think about going forward, we'll see where we're at. So there's that. The concrete slabs, this is kind of a big one, and the draining issue. So Troyer has gone to Brown and Brown and spoke to them, and they are trying to come up with a solution. There was supposed to be a rain garden, and so now they're gonna try to get this rain garden to make a swale or swale. Swale, okay, to divert the water, in a different direction than they originally had thought they were gonna try to do. And it's actually mimics natural drainage flow, so they're hoping this might solve the problem. Brown and Brown wanted everyone to know that they executed the plan, that they were given. And, this needs to be figured out by Troyer.
They had mentioned, I thought last week that they were gonna be out here this week to do that. Are they still scheduled to do that? Or should contact Krista and make sure that.
Chris, I've talked to Krista, she will be out this week, and I'm just gonna let them have that meeting, they asked to get some things hashed out without
Right.
us there, and that's fine, fine.
Which way are they gonna pull the water?
I think towards the beach.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, that'd be
That's the only way they can
Yeah, it
go.
was,
It's the only other way to go.
it's supposed to go toward the parking lot, but now it's probably gonna try to go towards the beach.
Yeah, there is some grassy area there that where she was talking
Yeah,
about.
and so they're gonna
doing that rain
dig down.
Swale.
Creating pump there, they'll have to go through, which isn't a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work out.
Yeah, I know.
We'll see.
I'm
So Troyer's gonna meet with Brown,
tomorrow. They are supposed to be
Tomorrow or Thursday.
tomorrow.
and after they do that, are they gonna report to us?
Mhm.
Okay, what, next meeting then?
I am going to email Krista and ask her how it went on Thursday.
Sure.
And I talked to Brown and Brown a lot, and they've been very open and, you know, try to be forthcoming with everything, so I'll ask one of them if
Okay.
we do need to find that out.
Yeah, and if it's anything critical, I mean, we can have a special meeting too. if we
Okay.
need to.
Are
Okay,
you sure we wanna go with this flower garden?
well, so the flower garden is, that's scrapped. They are going to now try, I don't know if I think it's live plants.
Okay, that's better than
Yeah,
seeds. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, the seeds was no one liked that idea, so they scrapped it.
Okay.
I forgot about that. Okay, so the bathrooms, I know, there is a slow draining shower. So I found out that I do need to find someone to roto-root that one shower, and I will do that. I'll work on that. The soap dispensers fell off in the women's bathroom, but instead of screwing them to the wall, I think we'll just tape them back up, and then next year maybe look at some, or in the next few years, see how it goes, because the soap dispenser trough or whatever you fill the soap is very small, so it's not ideal, so we'll see how it works out. But I was gonna ask Tom to talk about what they were talking about, the floors.
Yeah, so they did the initial cleaning of the floors and did the one coat of clear coat or whatever. And no one was, including Troyer, was satisfied with that. So there was a proposal to put another layer of epoxy in the floors in the bathhouse and the public areas in the beach house. But if I remember right, Brown and Brown said it would be a lot more expensive for them to do it. They'd have to take apart the stalls and up to be able to get the guarantee, so.
Well, yeah, because the painter said in order for them to
The
do the work,
guarantee.
they had to do it, yeah, for the warranty, they had to do it that way.
Right, and so that's not workable. So I think we need to look at doing some self-help here
Yeah.
for that.
And
get
Krista
those
mentioned
resolved.
we can get half back on what, if we do it, if volunteers do it, if we hire someone. That is still eligible for the grant reimbursement.
My suggestion would be is that we kind of get through this season. And that to me would be a fall project, not to inconvenience the campers anymore. They've already been inconvenienced.
I agree.
So at least that's my recommendation.
Well, that is, Teresa makes the point of, does it have to be done in a time frame in order to get the reimbursement?
Well, it may, but I'm not, let's get some quotes and see what it's gonna cost first, I guess, and worry about that.
There's a comment to make whether that epoxy, you have that concrete can't be too cold. I believe there's a range where that needs to be put in by. So just be mindful of, if we're gonna make it a fall project, that it gets done, I don't know, mid-November, latest, something.
Mhm.
Right, well, and I think whoever we get quotes from will be a good idea to get some estimates from them and the timeframes and the weather stuff too, so.
What other projects need done out there? By Brown and Brown, what do they have left to do?
It looks like everything is just finishing at this point. They're gonna put a third coat of paint on the exterior and finish up some of the painting, but that's a subcontractor.
But they were actually gonna try to clean up a little bit of that too, scrape a little bit more, so there isn't anything peeling to try to get that resolved, and then more. And I know they've been doing some filling with caulk
Yeah.
out there too.
So once
that's done.
the exterior, hill excavating is coming back for the landscaping.
Right,
And I think on the inside, the painters are still gonna shine up the roof. Or, the ceiling, and as far as Brown and Brown's part, I think they have to do a ceiling in one of the rooms still. And a couple lights and some, I think it's all just kind of little.
and they're to recondition the floor, you have to clean it,
Yes.
and put that,
That's the big.
clean it and then put another coat like they did in the bathrooms.
Yes,
So
they're
they're,
trying to level out kind of some of the unevenness of that brick floor.
they're getting close to finish.
So the 19th.
The screen door, the screens on the bathrooms and the front have to get done, the doors have to get done.
On the beach house.
On the
Just
beach
gonna ask that question, that was okay.
Yep, and they said that would about be one of
They mentioned last week that the doors were in, so.
the screen door.
No, they've been delivered. Not installed, but they have.
Well, I know the screen doors have been,
I think I thought he said the steel ones too.
okay,
Delivered
And
to their site.
they've done the windows.
yes, those have been refurbished. And reinstalled, and I think that all looks really good.
Yeah, the windows look really good. Did they give you the thing to be able to?
No, not yet,
So,
they're supposed to build me one.
so do you think by the ribbon cutting, it'll all be taken care of?
So I think what will happen for the ribbon cutting is that we go ahead and we do it and we have the building open, but we probably won't have a concession in there and people can come and look and see. And then maybe and we'll, basically Brown said they'll lock anything left in like my office or lock it away. So it'd be safe and everyone can check out the building and
So you're kind of looking at more of a soft opening.
yeah,
As a full,
Yeah.
Like.
which I guess is pretty normal. I've been nervous about this, so I asked a million people and they said this is fine.
And for anyone that doesn't know, we're planning on doing it July 19th. Was the ribbon cutting. And 10:56 gonna be there.
Yep. So the ribbon cutting will be at 11 and 10:56 is starting to serve at 11:30. I'm gonna talk, Claire might be able to stay longer or do different hours that day. Girls coming to braid hair, and I think I might like to get a DJ. Travis Flora volunteered, but I don't know about all that. We might need a professional.
And anybody, we hope as many people can attend as can attend. We'd like for you to all attend this. And if you do attend and you have any suggestions or ideas or criticisms, please let us know.
Yeah.
We'll be glad to talk about those, okay? Because
We got thick skin.
yeah, and we want this to be done as well as it can be done for the budget we have. And if so anybody's got any complaints or ideas, feel free to talk to Amy or any of us about them.
Does anybody know if they're gonna put parking curbs in front of the handicap signs on a concrete parking area?
We can double check.
Yeah, I don't know, yeah.
I could see them.
Well, I think that's where actually some of those parking blocks came
Yeah, they-
from that area, so,
Cause if not, I think them signs are gonna take a beating.
yeah, we're gonna have to double check that.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's where the blocks were moved from, though.
Got back here first and then you. Yes, sir.
I noticed, I walked into the men's restroom and you can see where they on the floor, they took a pressure washed the floor. And you can see where they blew off the red, whatever that was, the dye, or I don't know what that was.
Primer or something.
But when you seal something, you gotta get a clean concrete. And if you're pressure washing that off here and there, that concrete was never clean enough to put the primer down. So if you put an epoxy on top of that, you're getting, in a few years, all that floor is gonna come off. It'll be like little sheets of paper. So be careful on what they sell you they're gonna do, because that floor was never acid etched. It was, cause I could smell the acid etching that they did it.
Yeah.
And you can tell it was never acid etched.
And we confirm with Brown and Brown, but it's the painters who did that. And just confirm what materials they used, how they, you know, what the steps they took to get it to where it's at now.
So you can get building in trouble.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yes.
Yeah, the concrete blocks on the handicap area. I think he said they are going in, but they're supposed to paint. Handicap things on that concrete before they open it. That's what he told me anyway.
yeah, that's right, because he was talking about painting the lines on there. So I'm guessing that is going to be the case.
Okay, anything else? Yes.
There's a question on both the washrooms in the campground. They have a lower section that's always open. I don't know if that's the ventilation. Was there any consideration to putting some kind of windows or blocking or something in there to close that off? So, you know, you're out here in October or whatever, and it's 40 degrees out, you're walking to a washroom, take a shower. I know it's made for ventilation, but that whole lower, there's a section that's probably 1.5 feet tall, about 1 foot off the floor that spans, I don't know, what 10 feet on both sides. And I never seen, I mean, back in the day, if you didn't have ventilation fans, what that was used for. And then it just, yeah, and you got weather coming in there too, you got.
So they won't be able to close.
Yeah.
Well, they never have done that, right? That's where I guess we never had that brought up and it wasn't
Yeah, it's just-
considered.
I'm not-
It wasn't considered, I guess we could take a look at something for
Yeah, it
next year.
doesn't make it weatherproof at all. I
Right.
mean, you can put doors and windows and all kinds of other stuff on there, but you got a nice big opening, it's open to the outside, it's got a screen in it and stuff like that, you can't. But, what keeps the bugs out, but,
It's in both bathrooms, right?
It's in both, yeah.
yeah, on both
It's on both
sides.
sides.
Yeah.
It's on the lower side, like I said.
It's for ventilation is what it is, and it's
Yeah.
normally not used past whatever the end of this camping
That's what I'm
station
saying,
is.
I can see.
So I don't think they worried about the weather
They extended.
when it was built, so,
Yeah, camping used to end on Labor Day weekend.
yeah. Well, and I guess part of it is to keep the historic look in the
Yeah.
building or whatever,
We
so
can- Sure, there's a solution for it.
there could be, yeah.
Get you some elbow jams.
I'll deal with it, but I'm just saying it's something that you spend a lot of money on doing a remodel and then you have this nice open area that you have weather coming through.
Okay, we'll take a look.
Got like a new roof with no siding.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
anything else about the renovation? Okay.
Oh, sorry, no. No, sorry.
What?
I think, nope, that's it. We got it July 19th as the ribbon cutting. I think that's it.
Okay.
Did you guys have any other things about that? Okay.
Okay,
Well, the other thing I wanted to say is mention, let's make sure that we send an invite to Tracy Williams. Because she was the superintendent that actually got this whole thing
That's
started.
good.
So
Thank you.
let's make sure we do an invite to her to make sure that she's aware of it and
That's really
get
nice. Thanks,
attention.
Tom.
Okay, 2026 budget discussion.
Okay, so Tom and Teresa and I went to the budget hearing today, or workshop, I'm sorry, not the hearing.
It was the
We
most
went
pleasant
this-
budget hearing I've ever attended, I have to say.
It wasn't?
It wasn't bad.
As I
Oh,
feared.
it wasn't like what I had in the past. It was good.
Mhm. So if you, I put on your, well, Teresa doesn't have, oh, no, this. Okay, so does everyone have this? Tom might, already have.
Yeah, I
Okay.
already have that.
So these, remember when I came last month with the chicken scratch notes? Well, they got typed. And so, I think one thing that the council would like me to do, is I'm going to have to write up some job descriptions so we can differentiate between pay scales, and that's how we can do that.
Yeah, because right now we only have one category is part-time worker and it covers everyone.
Yeah,
And you
and
can take it out into actual.
yes, yeah, so that will allow me to give different pay, have a more of a range. And I think I will have to go in front of the commissioners next month to present that. And then you can kind of see, so I just let them, you know, you can see what we had in 2025 to 2026. So I'm asking for repair and maintenance. I said we can leave it at 53 or we can, I am asking, I was asking for about 45, $46,000 extra there. But I said it can go in repair and maintenance, it can go equipment, it can go other, I don't care where it goes, but we do need a little more money to spend to upgrade the things that needs to be upgraded. I asked $5,000 more for gas. I hope that's enough. Same for the sand, gravel. And all that. So I did decide to go a little higher on the area postage. So we talked about adding more for postage, but what I was thinking is what we really need is more money for advertising. And I found out since I did this, I got a quote from Adams Radio Group for the Lou on the Lake, just to do 1 week's worth of commercials on the Valpo radio was $640. Now I got a grant for that. We don't have to pay for that. But so what I got to thinking is $500 for an advertising budget is basically nothing. Pointless. So I asked for more there and a little more for printing. So that one got increased by $3,000. Service contracts. Maybe add a little bit in case we go with Indiana Pump or something else. So a $2,000 increase there, $5,000 for utilities, although I don't know that that's gonna be enough. But we'll see. I don't know why I added a little more for internet, cause it should probably go up, but, everything else, equipment the same, but like I said, equipment could have more, somewhere needs a little more money for repairing the equipment or getting new equipment. But they seemed pretty.
Yeah, the only thing that they had said is that what we should do is look at the salary ordinance. For each of these part-time positions, create like a salary range. And then indicate what you
So
want
we
to
have a
starting.
salary range for the part-time people.
For
but-
our part for parks,
Yeah,
it's just one category though, right?
it's just one category, but it's a range.
Okay.
But if Amy splits them out, she's able to ask for a little bit more.
Okay.
As long as there's a job description that goes with it. So, and then we would have a few more lines to add. It wouldn't really be a part-time person, it would be a title.
Yeah, and I think any increase, if you can justify it, I think they'll be okay with it.
I hope so.
That's all we can do. Okay.
They didn't really indicate if they were gonna say yay or nay, but it seemed like they
Yeah,
were.
they didn't, and I wasn't 100% sure whether they kind of okayed the whole amount for the additional,
For the repair where I had it.
yeah.
I don't know either.
They didn't say no, but I guess my only concern is again, we're really close on this carryover. And I'm not sure, and that was the other thing we did say during the budget meeting. Obviously, if we don't have the money, we can't spend it, so, so we gotta be really mindful of that, whether it's budgeted or not.
Mhm.
So I don't have any problem going for it in the budget, but we'll have to be really cognizant next year of whether we can actually afford to do that or not. Because they, same for the electric, we can come back
Yeah,
and do a
yeah.
special request from them, so.
The mini splits, is it for the beach house? Yeah, okay. All right. Superintendent's report.
Okay. So we had a very busy 4th of July weekend. Maybe one of the busiest ever, I'm not sure. The beach entry for Friday, Saturday and Sunday, just beach entry with cash and credit cards was 2,920. It was a really good weekend. And that's not including camping. I don't have those full numbers with me, but we were full. Every electric spot was full. You know, all the RV spots were full and the electric camping was full. And lots of people were having fun. There was a full house all weekend. But one sort of down thing that happened was that because it was so full, the electric got so hot. And we were talking about this today in the budget meeting. And some of the spots lost power and everybody was kind of used to that. I was very worried, but everyone was like, well, we're pretty used to it. And so they had me put a fan on one of them and some umbrellas up to shade the boxes. I thought, this is a Band-Aid that is about to expire. I don't know how much longer that's gonna be the trick that fixes things. And so, we talked about that a little and then I think that the county council was kind of like, that's something you're gonna need to come and we talk
Well,
about.
yeah, one of the things that they suggested, and they've done it in the past, is to meter each individual site. And we basically said, well, we don't have the funds to do that, so if you're gonna want us to consider that, you're gonna have to, the county's gonna have to fund it, we don't have the money, so.
Mhm.
And I think, Teresa, you found out some info today about
Yeah, so.
how we'd go about getting quotes.
Yeah, so there's different prices for different quotes. If you think that whatever you're getting work for is gonna be under 25,000, all you need is 3 quotes and you're good. Under 50,000, you have to prove that you are actually asking someone for a quote. So in addition to calling them, you have to have an email. And then for anything $100,000 or over, it's required that you have an RFP. That is usually when a consultant comes out and gives you an estimate. But it costs $10,000 to actually get someone to come out. And it's basically an inch thick packet. And then you just have to get sealed bids after that.
So to me, this really doesn't have anything to do with our 2026 budget. Cause if we need to do this, they're gonna have to appropriate new money. It's
Yeah.
gonna have to come from them anyway, so maybe we table this or take it under advisement until the fall.
I can
And then,
contact,
get some quotes on, doing the RFP.
yeah, like I said, Rachel, I talked to her from the highway. She likes to use United Consultants. I can call them and see. She says normally it's around 10 grand, so I can call them and try to get an exact price. Just to see what it would be and try and look for other consulting companies that would do it, just to.
We probably need a
Fine.
couple.
Yeah, who would approve this? The council?
So the council talked about it, that we could probably go to them and ask for money out of QCAP, but. To even get a bid, we have to have 10 grand to spend on this consultant.
So,
I understand, but. Who's gonna pay for this? The county, right?
Yeah.
council.
The council suggested we go to the commissioners
Okay,
and ask for it to be paid maybe out of QCAP,
okay.
but. The first thing we'd have to do is get this RFP done. And that's $10 grand by itself, if not more or less, it depends.
Yeah, to me, I would say step one is just getting some quotes on getting this,
Open out there.
consultant
Yeah.
to give us an RFP and get prices for that, and then go to the council with that, or the commissioners with that, and say,
Yeah.
during the budget hearing,
Exactly.
you know, the council suggested that we look at getting individual meters. Here's the cost of the RFP. Will you fund it?
Okay, Rachel gave you the name of,
But Rachel likes to use United Consultant. I can call them and just see
Fuel Now.
what a price would be.
Yeah.
And then if she's got any other suggestions, I can call those people also.
Very good. Yeah, I think that's where we have to go.
It was like a good problem to have so many people out that we blew the power, but no,
Yeah.
I'm glad it came back on. I was very worried, but it did. It cooled down and it came back.
Yeah, I remember when I first came on the board, there was talk about the electric.
Mhm.
There was, yes, sir.
Is it possible to do this in phases? Like your worst area you got, maybe do that in your first phase, that keeps out the full cost down and do it over a period of 3 years or 4 years.
Yeah, I don't know. That's something that a consultant would probably. advise
You'd
us
be,
on.
you'd be metering 1/3 and the other 2/3 are non-metered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how that would.
I mean, usually ends up being more expensive to do in phases anyway.
Well, I can tell that this was done in phases. Because everything on each of them is radically different, which I think is really dangerous and wild. It's the electric out there's.
oh, I know.
One of the things, I actually, if it's overheating, the 50 amp or 100 amps or whatever we've got out there. Those would be a priority, right? Because that's what's overheating. I mean, that's drawing most of your power. Your electric sites that have tents and primitive, you'd wait a year or two before you upgraded those. That's why. I thought that would be a good suggestion, would be to target the areas that are drawing the most power. That's gonna make your biggest bang for your buck. Start now and do it in a phase that way. You know, we'd roll with the 50 amps and knock them all down, meter them all, and then. Your problem should solve itself as far as the overheating. Well, it'll take 2 or 3 years to do.
I think the problem is that all of the mains have to be replaced. So all the feeds, you gotta do that all in one shot.
Why? They're all separated.
Yeah.
Well, let's get a consultant. Let's see.
Well, let's see what
Let's see
consultant,
what we need now.
first thing a consultant is gonna do to do the RFP is gonna go out there and look at everything,
Yes.
so.
Yeah.
Let's let them come back and give us.
Them do their job.
Okay, we started Kids Craft on July 5th, and there were several kids that came, some camp, some came from the community. And it was really fun. We're gonna do it again next Saturday, and we'll do it August 2nd, just to kind of see. And then Rick has a really good idea. I might want to try and August called Candy Bingo, but that'll be later. I'm just trying to do things that are simple this year, that I can do without too much. And that's something that I think is easy and was pretty well received. So then the following weekend, I'm not doing it on the 19th because of the ribbon cutting. And then the following weekend after that is Lake Fest. So I didn't think I could, I wouldn't be able to do that. And then the 3rd and then the 9th would be the luau on the lake. And then if I survive all that, then I'll.
Yeah, do we know if for the festival, if the beach house building will be open for use?
That's my really big, yeah, I think
And
we can
just-
use the bathrooms even on the 19th. I know that the bathrooms are being used by someone, not
Yes.
me, but
Well, no, and which is good, because they're being tested,
Yes,
so that's.
yes.
There hasn't been
They
anyone
do,
going through those sewers in a long time.
yes,
I
yeah,
think it's 20 years since that building's had water,
I'm sure.
at least.
So speaking of the concession, one of the things I did was buy Bass Lake shirts. I got more of the Starke County shirts. I got gray. I really like the blue though. I got gray shirts. I got the tote bags to sell in the concession stand with our logo. And I got Bass Lake shirts, which I was gonna wear one, but I didn't. So it is what it is. But I emailed the campers so they all know what they look like. And I think even before the concessions gets open. Maybe this weekend that we're gonna set up a little tent and have them for sale, and maybe have waters or something to sell too, just to kind of soft launch a concession.
Yeah, what happened with when was the girl that was gonna do the coffees and
She
drinks?
started.
She started this weekend and she did really, she sold out every day.
Right,
And her coffees were so good. But I didn't realize that, I thought she had moved all the way back to Indiana, but they live in Milwaukee and they're looking for jobs. So hopefully they find something soon, but she'll be back this weekend
okay, great.
and every weekend. There's gonna be a girl who tinsels hair who needs to come most weekends too.
Is Tara still setting up?
She might for the 19th, she doesn't know yet.
But definitely the luau? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I gotta look on vendors. So the ribbon cutting definitely on for July 19th. I'm hoping maybe someone from this board will wanna speak, maybe Dick. Wanna say something at the ribbon cutting.
I might.
Okay, well, respond, let me know soon.
I got roped in the last one.
Yeah, that's true. Someone from the DNR is gonna speak, and I hope someone from either commissioners or council will speak. Okay, so I think that's it on Bass Lake. So, okay, let me launch into a couple new things. So I talked to Dr. Fritz yesterday. The highway, what we've been calling the Fritz launch, or the Highway 23 kayak launch, construction has begun on the launch. And then after they do the launch, they'll do the parking lot. So Dr. Fritz feels pretty, we talked for a while yesterday, and he is not a fan of calling it the Fritz launch. He just isn't comfortable with that. He doesn't like it. And I said, well, do you have an idea for a name that, and he did. And his idea, and I really like it, would be the 900 East launch. And he said, the reason for that is that Highway 23 used to be called 900 East. And before it became a state highway, and it would be consistent with 1100 and 700, which already have primitive launches. And so it would help people navigate a little better. And I think that is the very smart idea. So, but that has started. I'm not sure about the Knox Park, if it has started yet either.
I didn't see anything when I drove by.
I wonder if they're gonna do that one and then come over and do this. Mhm. And then the last thing I have is an update about Kramer's Beach. So I wish Kathy and Teresa and those guys were here, but I'm just going to read what the lawyer emailed me, Sean Cerisi, the lawyer. He said, I wanted to provide you with an update on the Hague case. The Starke Circuit Court granted the county's motion for summary judgment in the quiet title case. The court also denied the Hague's motion to strike all of our filings in the case. In so doing, the court found that the Hague's motion was unreasonable and groundless, and awarded the county's attorney fees incurred in responding to the motion. We will now pivot back to the federal lawsuit and hopefully get that resolved later this year. I'll let you know about any other updates.
That's good news.
Very good news.
Good news, yes. Very good.
And that is the end of the superintendent's report that you guys have finished.
Very good, thank you. All right, now.
So do you have this is the financial, because remember I kept messing this up, so here we go. This is what I sent for Michaeline, and it just shows one thing I really learned this year. And I know you guys can't see this, but in June, so I run just 1 month, I see what's the budget for just the 1 month, and then I run the budget for the beginning of the year to the end of that month. So what I learned about June was we spent about as much as we took in, which that meant we only added $56 to our cash reserves.
That's not.
No, but
Going up.
Yeah,
the good news is that overall to the end of June, our cash balance is up quite a bit. It's at 187, where we ended the year last year at 95,000
96,
or some, yes.
96, 780.
I should have asked you before I said that. I didn't know. But so that's good. And since the end of June, we have made quite a bit of money too.
Well, and the other thing too is we spent a lot for the roofs
Mhm.
and that kind of thing, which is so.
That did come out of that. That's a big one. And so the beach entry to date, we've made $3,090. Pier rental, we've made 66,900. Campground rental, $146,142 to date. That's to the end of June, so it'd be even more now. And that's the end of my financial report.
Very good.
Go further, or we get that.
Is there a motion to approve the report?
So I'll make a motion that we approve the financial report presented by the superintendent.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Okay. That brings us down, is there any other business anybody has? Yes.
This weekend was really good at the beach. And as we get better, the beach house opening and that, I could foresee when somebody's gonna come to that gate and say the parking lot's full. Now, my point is, when I drove through there quite a few times, I would say that 50% of the vehicles parked in there from Illinois. And the way I understand it, they pay the same fee that we pay from Starke County or Indiana. I think the board needs to look at that out of state coming in there and maybe charge a little bit more money to come down there and use our beach. Just a point.
Well, do these people live at the beach? I mean, do they have houses?
Property.
I'm not sure, but I'm sure there's a way to get around some of that, you know, some people buy passes and that, but.
Well, I know we had,
When you go down there and you see more than 50% of the cars on the beach parked, and it was loaded, it's from Illinois, out of state.
I know we have cheaper rates for county for the passes, right? If you live
Just
in
for
the
the
county.
passes.
Okay. But not for, we've never had it separate for.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
Are a lot of, those Illinois plates coming from Polish campground.
No. That makes sense.
Yeah,
In the beach.
yeah, they were the ones that actually, you really gotta kind of police on the piers to make sure that they're not bringing pontoon fulls over and trying to hook up to the pier.
Yeah, and some of them told the kids that they thought they got in free to our beach if they paid at their campsite.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? We have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. Don't forget the ribbon cutting.
Yeah.
I just thought. I told the conflict today at the sheriff.
You know, we've got them added. You have them added here?
Yeah, but.
How about?